Introducing Executive Chef Robert Barral of the Café Provence and Head Chef Louis Pattis of the Brendan Inn, located in the charming town of Brendan, Vermont. Chef Barral and Chef Louis Pattis will be offering outstanding culinary getaways staying at the historic Brendan Inn, classes at the Café Provence Culinary Classroom, breakfast at the Brendan Inn, scheduled visits to local distilleries, breweries, cideries, sugar houses, and orchards. We can host groups from 4 to 20, perfect for girlfriend getaways, family getaways, or couple weekends. Contact Chris Donnelly or Brenda Handy at Sugar Tours. We look forward to having you as our guests in the Green Mountains of Vermont.
My name is Robert Barral. Welcome to Café Provence in Brandon, Vermont. I'm the chef co-owner of the cafe. And one of the recipes I like to do for my demonstrations is a dish that I have on the menu since day one of the cafe almost. It's a chicken breast that I thought about doing with basically ingredients that I was used to work with when I was in the south of France, which we have a lot of olives, lots of garlic, tomatoes, spinach, all the things that we can find here any time of the year. So the first thing, I start to work with the chicken breast, which are 5 ounces chicken breast. I trim around when it needs to be trimmed. If not, I just split them in half and end up with 2 equal size chicken breasts. To do that, I need a very sharp knife. So I really like these knives. They are nice and soft. And to keep them sharp, I use the steel every time I use them. So here we go. I like to show you the way I do it. I go from one end to the other of the steel, just like this. If you just want to do the front, just at the front. If not, go from both ends of the blade. You don't have to do it a lot, just a little bit every time you use the knife, and that will keep it nice and sharp. I'm going to start the splitting of the chicken breast from the thickest part of the breast, which is right here, and go slowly all the way to the thinnest part, which is at the end of the breast. So I bring that breast to the side of the cutting board, and to keep a close eye on it, I'm going to bend a little bit, press my hand on top, and do that sewing motion, just like this, all the way to feel the blade going through the chicken breast. So the trick is to get to the end and end up with the same size breast on both sides, which I think I did good. So it's ready to be breaded. So I'm going to use the traditional breading procedure, which is flour, egg wash, and breadcrumbs. So the flour is all-purpose flour. The eggs, the egg wash, I put a little bit of milk in the eggs just to make it thinner. It doesn't have to be very eggy. The breadcrumbs, I'm going to add a little bit of chopped garlic into it, and olive oil. So the olive oil, of course, will prevent the breadcrumbs to dry out too quickly when we're going to pan fry it. And the garlic will give that extra flavor. So just keeping it simple works better. All my recipes have evolved over time, over the years, as I'm cooking every day, dishes after dishes, and I make little changes like this on what works best. So now I go from the flour, remove the excess, and then go down to the egg wash. Here again, we're going to remove some. And then for the breadcrumbs, I press strongly on it, make sure it sticks to it. And the breadcrumbs is panko. I use panko. I found the panko. I like it. It's very consistent, always the same, and stays nice and crispy. So we do the same with the other side. Press well. And now we have our 2 breasts, identical. ready to be pan fried when the time comes. So the next thing we're going to do will be the onion. I'm going to use a Spanish onion, that onion that you know well, with the yellow skin. And I'm going to show you the way I peel the onion. I know everybody knows how to peel an onion, but I like to do that because every time I have a new cook coming in the kitchen, I see a new way on how to peel an onion, which usually results in a lot of waste, and I don't like it. So I slide the knife right under the rooty part, right here, and then I pull all the way. So this one doesn't have much skin, but let's see what comes out. And what I usually ask my cooks not to do is to remove a big chunk on one side and a big chunk on the other, because then you have a lot of waste for nothing. So to slice the onion, I can remove this. I split the onion in half. Then I keep the core of the onion right ahead of me. And then I use the tip of the blade and I hold the onion from the tip of my fingers. And I don't separate each slice. I just keep them all attached to the onion. And every time the knife goes down, it touches my index, which in fact I don't really need to look at it. Then I turn the onion sideways, make one cut here, one cut there, and then go down this way. And as I go down, because it's a serrated knife, you always have to make a motion either forward or backwards, otherwise it doesn't cut as well. I keep these for my stocks. I always have a stock going in the kitchen. And then we end up with nice dices ready for the sauce. Little bit of olive oil for the chicken breast. Actually, I say a little bit, but I'm going to be more generous than normal. I just want to make sure the breadcrumbs is not going to dry out and burn. And then on this side here, for the sauce, we're going to do, first we're going to sweat the onions. So when I say sweating, it's when the oil will be hot enough, I start a little bit of smoke. I will place the onions in the pan and cook them until they turn translucent. They don't need to have any color. They just need to get that opaque color. And then we'll deglaze with white wine. I have Café Provence Chardonnay, but it could be any white wine of your liking. Please don't use sweet wines. A Merlot, Chablis, Sauvignon Blanc, any of these wine will do. So if you're not sure, we want to see if the pan is, if the oil is hot enough. You can take breast, don't drop it, just show it in the oil. If it's not frying, then don't leave it. So the chicken breast will go first. Now the onions. I always like to flip the onions in a pan. Later on, we're going to do it with the tomatoes and the spinach. When I try to make people understand how to do this, I say, okay, try to make the onion move first in the pan, and then do like if you are throwing the onions out of the pan, but then at the last second, you're going to catch them and make sure they end up by the handle right there in the front. So you can practice that in your house. I'm sure you're going to enjoy that. Then for the chicken breast, I'm going to use the tongs. And I'm aiming for a nice golden brown for each side of the chicken breast. All right, so here the onions, as you can see, are translucent. Some of them are starting to turn brown, so I'm ready to deglaze the pan. And then So if you move the wine like that on the side of the pan, all the alcohol will burn up and you end up just with the nice juices of the wine. All right, so the chicken breast, as you can see, is nice golden brown on one side. Here the wine has burned, reduced 50%. I'm gonna add the tomato. So this is called tomato fillets. No seeds, skinless, seedless. Easy to work with. I use these tomatoes in a lot of my recipes. They're very easy to use and have great flavor. Then baby spinach and seedless Kalamata olives. Here again, we're going to do the flipping of the pan. So the chicken breast, we're going to wait until we see the other side being the same color, which is ready now. They are so thin, they're going to cook very fast. A couple of pinches of salt. I really like to use kosher salt in the kitchen. All right, if you're afraid to flip the pan, you can always use a pair of tongs. I'm going to add chopped garlic. I'm doing the garlic now because, well, in some dishes, when I make a tomato sauce, for example, for marinara, for the pizzas, I put the garlic after the onions in the pot. But in this case, I want the flavor, the garlicky flavor, to be very intense and very strong, very much there. So I put the garlic just at the end of the cooking. And the flavor is not going to be in the kitchen, it's going to be right there in the pot. And it's going to taste very good. So we need to cook it enough, a minute or two, to make sure the garlic is cooked, doesn't have that raw flavor, but doesn't have to be cooked for a long time. Otherwise, it loses some of its strength and the flavor is not as crisp. Then, at the end of the cooking process of the sauce, I'm going to add that lemon butter sauce that I make with little bit of white wine, heavy cream, and red onions that I bring to the boil. I add cubed butter into it that I mix and bring to the boil, and finish with lemon juice, salt, and that gives a nice complement to the sauce. Stretches it, gives that rich flavor, and make it taste silky. It really makes a big difference. So the sauce is finished, the chicken is cooked. I taste everything. In the kitchen, I taste everything. Here we go, we're gonna taste this one here. I don't need to taste a lot, just a little bit. Wow, it's really good. I always say how much I love my food, but here we go, so it's ready. I'm waiting for the mashed potatoes. And I squeeze the end and guide it on the other side. The breast, the chicken breast is going right on top of it. The sauce, we're going to cover all the chicken with the sauce. And then to finish it, I use a little bit of Asiago cheese right on top of it. It's a Parmesan cheese. And here is the chicken niçoise that you can find here at the cafe, or get the recipe online. Good luck, enjoy. Thank you.